Can't tell you how much of a friend Don Howard is to us at CalMatters and in journalism and everybody in California. Welcome. Grab a seat. You get a cool pillow to go with your seat.
Love it.
Right? Really happy to introduce two people who have a really interesting idea they're working on together, and we're going to dig into that. This is the Ideas Festival, and I think you're going to like this idea. I do. That's why we're here. Dr. Art Pimentel is the president of Folsom Lake College, not far from where we sit today. Community college, how many students?
We have almost 11,000 students.
11,000 students. Amazing. And Keri Thomas is the vice president for external affairs at Sutter Health, one of the biggest employers in many different places in California.
We are, Northern California.
Yeah,
Santa Barbara now.
So we're going to talk about the workforce, the healthcare workforce specifically. And Keri, I want to ask you to start off by kind of describing the problem that we're trying to solve, which sounds like it's quite a problem.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at workforce and healthcare, we need people in order to provide care.
And AI robots?
Right. It's a very, So currently, 20% of Sutter Health's workforce is over the age of 56. And we currently cannot fill the positions that we have open. Medical assistants, surgical assistants, rad techs, they're certificate programs. They're great jobs. So if we can't fill them today, imagine what it's going to be next year and the year after. It's very clear we have to think differently about how we recruit and retain our workforce.
That's amazing. You've got jobs posted and you just can't, there are not enough people who are carrying certificates. Not even like finding the job. There's not enough certificates issued out there in the world, right?
Right.
All right, for context on the community college, I think a lot of people look at community colleges and they have their own take on it, right?
Right.
Some of them judge your success based on the number of transfer students you have to a certain school. But you've got a more holistic picture of what you're trying to achieve. Is that the right way to describe it?
Absolutely. And I feel like the community college is this embodiment of the American dream where it's about access and affordability. And we want to make sure that our colleges, Folsom Lake College, responds to the needs of the region and the industry needs as well. And so we do focus on transfer, but we also have extensive academic portfolio that focuses on career technical education and specifically allied health, which is a huge need in our region and in our communities.
And it's not only two-year degrees, right? There are different ways to complete an educational program that leads to a job or whatever you're looking to do?
Exactly right. So one of the things that I like to say, because sometimes we hear that college isn't for everyone, I think college is for everyone, but not necessarily a 4-year degree, not necessarily a bachelor's degree. And so that's what we communicate to our communities. You could go to Folsom Lake College and earn a 1-year certificate in emergency medical technology and make $30, $40, $50 an hour, or a 2-year certificate and make the same amount. And so we want to make sure we're providing.
You can't do that with a 4-year journalism degree, by the way.
Right.
Well, and I think college may not be for someone right now. The good thing about going into healthcare is we're a ginormous employer, and we don't just do healthcare delivery. We have a legal team. I'm in external affairs. We have quality. We have patient access. You could go in as a rad tech and go, I want to go be a nurse. It may not be college right now. Let's get people into jobs and get them in the pipeline. We have tuition assistance so that people, the burden of the cost of going to college, Sutter will help. So
let's talk about that. You're trying to be proactive. You've decided the staffing shortage is not going to solve itself.
Right, clearly.
And you can't run the business if you don't have staff.
Right.
So you're taking a pretty aggressive approach. Talk to us about that.
So because of these certificate programs, there's something, and you can get more technical than
Sure.
me. I'll talk very high level. Dual enrollment. So we can get to kids when they're in high school. And junior year, they can dual enroll and be at their high school and enroll in community college and graduate with a certificate. And so Sutter Health, we want to do that. We want
as many certificates as fast as you can.
So we have a goal of partnering, and we're really focusing on the Title I schools and communities with generational poverty.
Explain Title I just for a minute.
Title I, it's about income
Lower income
Yeah, lower
areas.
income areas. Because we have high-paying jobs that are fully benefited. Let's move people in, and then they can, again, be in a pipeline. So we are focused on training, and we are going to do paid clinical rotations because we know these young people need
You need
jobs.
to do a rotation as part of your training.
It's part of the training. So we're going to pay them to do the rotation, and our goal is to hire 5,000 across the Sutter Health footprint by 2030. Train and hire 5,000 youth.
5,000 students, all through Folsom Lake College.
Not all through Folsom Lake College, but we have a long history with Los Rios, so it was very natural for this to be our
Los Rios
first.
being the district that Folsom Lake is part
Correct.
of. Where do you think a student would start thinking, I want to go do healthcare? I mean, some kids probably very young grow up seeing a role model or somebody doing it. Others, many of us got to 12th grade and weren't necessarily sure, right? How do you see people making that decision or thinking, I want to do this?
Well, we're going to be focused on middle schools and really going in, partnering with the college to go in and start planting the seed and doing visits so that they can go see what healthcare.
Like going into a classroom and explaining the career
And
options?
bringing them in.
Bringing them into
Field trips, come and rotate through and see what the options are and start them thinking early about it. So when they get into high school and they're in these pathway programs, they'll already be exposed to it.
And so the pathway program being really curriculum starting in what, 9th, 10th, 11th grade?
9th grade. So one of the really unique opportunities for us is we're focusing this partnership at the Rancho Cordova Center, which is a center of Folsom Lake College. We have a strong partnership already with Folsom Cordova Unified School District. Their interests, their students want to go into allied healthcare programs. So we want to be responsive, and we want to make sure that we're strengthening that pipeline that we're talking about. They're already telling us at the high school that they want to go into allied health. There's a lot of interest. We're now strengthening that pipeline into the community college with the partnership with Sutter Health so that they could be successful and get the equipment, the tools that they need, and the access to information at a very early age.
So that means putting equipment into high school classrooms?
It's putting equipment into high school classrooms. It's also getting the equipment for the programs at the college, which
You have a
is
center
exactly.
there.
We have a center at the Rancho Cordova. It's an outreach center that's part of Folsom Lake College, and one of the ideas and the partnership that we're going to do that's going to be created.
The grant application you're about to get.
Yes.
An investment
into the future generations. We are going to be able to remodel classrooms to tailor them to these different allied health programs and purchase the equipment so that we can then teach those students as soon as they graduate from high school, they could go directly into the pipeline, get their 1-year certificate or their 2-year degree, and then go directly into the workforce.
And how do you sync up with the high school? Do you work with the guidance counselors? Do you work with the teachers? What's the hands-on part of this?
We work with the academic counselors at the high schools and the principals, the leadership, and also, of course, the district leadership at Folsom Cordova Unified. And that's something that we jointly apply for grants so that we could, again, increase the opportunities that exist and the number of areas that we're focusing on when it comes to allied health.
And we have I have high schools reaching out saying, we want to be a part of this. We want to.
So recruiting's not going to be a problem.
And we're picturing the higher signing days on graduation with balloons and marching bands and, you get your Sutter swag and it's
like
gonna
they do with
be,
their 4-year college sweatshirts.
Yeah,
They get accepted.
it's a big deal to go into healthcare and care for patients and we want to make it exciting.
And you mentioned earlier the Rancho Cordova Promise program, right?
Yes.
So this is one more piece of this sort of a pathway?
That's exactly. I mean, I think we often say it takes a village, and it really does, right? This public-private partnerships, public-public partnerships. So we already have a real focus and an interest. The community there has a real focus and an interest in supporting educational opportunities for the community. Rancho Cordova is a working class community, and so we want to make sure that we're providing these opportunities. So the city of Rancho Cordova developed a Rancho Cordova Promise program where they pay all of our students' fees and tuition. and they help them with their books. So they help them with different equipment needs. So this is like full circle, right? Where you are partnering with the high school, the school district, the city of Rancho Cordova, the community college, and now an industry partner to strengthen that pipeline and
Industry
increase.
partner that can actually hire people at the end of the cycle.
And that's
or the start of the cycle.
that's what
Committed
it's
to hiring. That's our intent. You know, I say it's an investment. We are investing $1.7 million in order to convert the center and buy the equipment, and we're going to get that back 10 times over.
By having employees to do the work that
Yep.
generates the revenue,
Yeah.
right?
And I want to just emphasize how important it is, because the $1.7 million that Sutter Health is investing in Folsom Lake College, in Los Rios, first of all, it's the single largest donation in the Los Rios Community College District history.
Wow.
And secondly, it's going to allow us to quickly move and make the changes that are needed to expand the programs and the capacity of the programs, both in certified nursing assistant, radiology technology, emergency medical technology, medical lab technology, and then explore other allied health programs to meet the needs of Sutter Health and the interest of Rancho Cordova and the region.
Amazing. Are there other programs like this that you're looking at? Are there other, obviously you said this is the biggest donation. Are there other pipelines available? If I'm a student in Los Rios, in Folsom Lake, and I see this pathway to an allied health job at Sutter, are there other places where you see everybody who graduates from this program gets a job right away? Like this is where you want to go if you're in the school?
Sure. I mean, well, so to answer your question, I think this is certainly a pilot program. We want to scale it across the other 3 colleges in the Los Rios district, right? We have Sacramento City College, American River College, Cosumnes River College, and Folsom Lake College. Folsom Lake College being the most important.
I was just about to ask you.
Folsom Lake College being the most
Which
important.
is the best of those?
We're all very unique, and that's the purpose. So yes, there are other sister colleges have allied health programs, but this will be the first very unique program where we're, again, developing that pipeline, and we have a partner that's willing to support the programs and the increasing the capacity, and then help with the placement so that then those students end up getting a job.
And do you have in mind other industries that sync up with curriculum you have or would like to have, where once you demonstrate this works, you can take it to other industries and build similar pathways?
Absolutely. I think there's ample opportunities to look at because of the region where we work on. I mean, healthcare is certainly an area where there's a significant growth and need.
It's the biggest employer in the region, is that right?
It's the biggest employer of the region and
Outside
growing.
of state government.
Sure.
The state government, yeah.
But you look at advanced manufacturing, right? Technology. You could look at other areas like hospitality, engineering, the STEM field. So there's other opportunities for us to look at this partnership and how could we emulate it to create other public-private partnerships for sure.
And Keri, I imagine you're okay with the idea that creating these certificate programs, some of those people become Sutter employees, some of those people go off to do other things in the field, right?
Absolutely. And we're talking with our federally qualified health center partners, which are community clinics. They're a really important part of the continuum, saying if we're training them and they don't want to work at Sutter, they want to work in their community. So we're gonna actually do rotations through the FQs. We want to provide exposure to healthcare and people to land where they want to. That's the goal. It's not you have to come to Sutter in order to go through this program. There is a whole world out there. Please find what fits best. We'd love for you to work at Sutter, and we're gonna have a marching band to try to get you to sign.
Like literally, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look for the video of that band.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, healthcare it's a job, it's a business, it's an industry that people don't have to be exposed to, right? Advanced chip making, right? Advanced technology manufacturing, that people may not grow up knowing that's an option for them until they take their first class. Healthcare, you tend to meet doctors and nurses early, and you tend to be in families with people, so it's almost like you have a head start,
It's
right?
the doctor and nurses. People think that's what they think they have to do if they want to go into
be in
healthcare
healthcare.
often, because they don't see the other. There's just so many opportunities.
And we're there to provide those workers with accountants, right? Computer information systems. I mean, all of the different marketing and outreach
Right.
and
We're 24/7, so it's really flexible for family, for going to school. You can work weekends, you can work nights. It's it's amazing. I've worked at Sutter Health for 27 years, so I
seem to
clearly
like it.
have drank the Kool-Aid.
You seem to like it. And that 24/7 also helps frame the need for people, right? I mean, you don't get to like shut down for Christmas week.
Nope.
No. What, since we're here in the heart of California politics, what do programs like this need from the state legislature, from counties, from college districts, from school districts? How do they help? How do they get involved? How do they make this more possible? Obviously, Sutter can help you renovate that building and build a lab, and that's one piece. What do you need from
Well, I think
politics?
there's appropriations dollars from Congress, so really working with our elected leaders to find matching investments. You know, Sutter really likes to match and leverage, so I think that is one way. Congressman Barra has been incredibly supportive of this and is advocating for it.
Yeah, we talked to him in April when we were in DC. So I think there's other opportunities for sure. You know, being able to support the pipeline to strengthen things. We need faculty to be able to teach in these programs. That's certainly one area of opportunity. And then being able to increase some of the resources that some of our lowest income students, so that they could get the supports that they need to be successful. So again, you have the support, and Sutter Health with the gift is going to be able to provide the resources to make the change, but they're also providing scholarships too, to be able for students to be able to pay for the equipment that they need, or the instructional materials and those kinds of things in these programs, because they tend to be very expensive. So reducing barriers for students, especially when we're focused on communities of color and working class communities, it's perfect that we're able to introduce them early onto these types of jobs, and then of course give them an opportunity to actually be successful once they arrive and they show interest.
I mean, our friend Don Howard, who we met just before, right? The Irvine Foundation always talks about giving people a pathway from lower income jobs to middle income jobs, right? To a decent living. And a decent living in California is not easy these days, right? We know that community college in California is an amazing opportunity. There are states where community college is stupidly expensive. It's relatively affordable in California. A lot of people can get tuition help or get tuition free. But you just started to explain, it is still hard to go to college. You have equipment, how many of your students, do you know what share of your students are either caring for older parents or caring for their own kids?
I don't know the specific,
It's a lot,
I don't know,
right?
it's probably a lot, but I
We've all
don't know
got-
specifics. But when they tell us, when they're coming to Folsom Lake College, and sometimes they have to take a break, they do tell us a lot of the reasons that they don't continue with their education is financial or family.
Well, you guys had a statistic Sutter Health gave to the endowment to do fund a need, not necessarily books, but you need help with rent. It was like a $500 makes the difference.
Right?
Of keeping someone
In college.
in college.
And you're talking about living expenses,
Living
getting to
expenses.
campus.
Just the basics, absolutely the
childcare.
basics.
Fixing their car, whatever it may
Right,
be.
your car breaks down and you miss a semester.
$500, that's all, to keep them in school.
To create the possibility for you to have an employee who
Right.
would make a huge amount of money over a 20-year career and enable you to run the business. You told us about an event you did, a Men of Color Summit, which I think highlighted for me the audience for this, right? The folks who don't have this opportunity unless you present it. So I'd love to hear you talk about that.
Yeah, so Folsom Lake College, a couple of months ago, we put on our first Men of Color Summit to focus again on our equity gaps that exist in the system and certainly the college. And one of the things that we know is that men of color have a huge gap when it comes to student success rates, going college rates, and then once they come to us, going to actually being succeeding and finishing. And so we brought on, again, we partnered with Folsom Cordova Unified, focused on the different high schools. It was very successful. We brought in 120 men of color, Asian, Black, Latino, and we had speakers, we had workshops, and introduced them to healthcare, we introduced them to music, theater arts, all of these different programs in the college. And we got all this feedback about, there were some students that live in Rancho Cordova that had never been to Folsom. And that says a lot. I don't know if you know, all of you who know this region, to us that's surprising, but again, we forget how fortunate some of us are and how much need exists. So we're going to continue to have this Men of Color Summit and focus on, again, trying to increase the number of men of color that go to college. And again, we introduced the concept, right? We talked about it earlier. You don't have to go to a 4-year bachelor's degree. You could get a 1-year certificate and earn $35 an hour. And so, with all of the different types of programs, so it's exciting.
Yeah.
We want to do more of that so that we are very intentional about how we target our students that have this need, and they tell us that they have this need.
So other companies in California that need employees are welcome to track you down and have a conversation.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
Keri, Art, thank you so much for doing this. It's fascinating, and I hope by next year we're talking to 20 companies that are doing this up here. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.